Let's take a tour through Volkswagen's new infotainment system in the Volkswagen Golf R and multiple other new Volkswagen products. We'll start by just going through the main tiles here. This is where your screen starts up when you turn your car on. You can swipe through some options here. You'll see some customizable selections, and then on the far right you'll see some more customizable screens. This big square button on the left is sort of like a home button on an iPhone. So you press that and then you're left back at the home. And then once you're here, you have a few main options you can go through. One of the big ones is climate, because you'll notice down here, there's no big climate controls or dials or anything. Instead, you can go ahead and hit your climate button, and then you can bring up your climate controls here. Pretty classic stuff, nothing too fancy right there. But Smart Climate has some neat options like warming your feet, warming your hands, cooling my feet. There's also one right here for air care to run a scan of the air quality inside the cabin. We'll hop into your radio and media next. You see over here on the left is where you can choose between if you want media from a Bluetooth or if you actually want to listen to the radio. If you do listen to the radio, here's your presets. You can scroll through all of them here. This is a European spec car, so you're not seeing Sirius and the whole selection of things, but just imagine this, but with Sirius. You notice right there, that's how I turn the volume down. There is no volume knob or anything like that in this car. You can control the volume using this as a slider or just tapping, which takes some getting used to, and frankly, I still haven't gotten used to it. One big issue that I've found is when I'm tapping away on the screen, say I'm doing something here, and I accidentally, just use my thumb to brace myself, I'll find myself messing with the climate controls or changing the volume accidentally. It's just not a very good space to put these touch controls here. They get in the way every time you try and touch on the screen, and then you gotta go back and change your settings back to where you put them. But moving on, you'll see App Connect. This car does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto if you want. Then you have all your other tiles here, assist systems. There's actually some pretty neat animations and whatnot when you go into your vehicle settings. This is much higher class versus any other Volkswagen I've seen before. So you can go around here, hop in your vehicle, and then scroll through the various options here. Brakes, window, central locking. The one that I'd really love to point out is the brakes, because this is where you turn off traction control. There's no hard button anywhere that you'll look in the car. This is the only place to do it. You can go in there and activate ESC Sport, which turns off traction control, or completely turn off stability control. It's a pretty frustrating way to do it, actually, but I digress. The same fancy animations are back when you go into the assist systems as well, so you can select any of these and it'll bring up a myriad of settings that you can roll through here. Click on the car in front of there, adaptive cruise control, and so on. But let's go back to the main screen, because there's some fun stuff we can go through. With the background of the screen itself, you can change the color. So right now we're at purple, but we can completely change the mood such that the background of this changes, your instrument cluster changes, everything changes as according to what you want here. You can actually even go in and choose, well, any color you want. There is a whole rainbow to choose from, but let's leave it at blue right now. Moving along from the infotainment system, there is the instrument cluster, which is just as customizable and interesting to look at. You'll see here is just a single view, which is my favorite, a big tachometer with the speedo in the center, some performance gauges surrounding it. But you can press this little view button on the steering wheel and change exactly what you're looking at here a few times. So here's the R setting here. This is probably best for the track, very minimalistic. This is your main setting right here, very traditional instrument cluster with the tach and the speedo. Then you can hop into this, which is a navigational view if this car had navigation activated. You'll see a driver assistance view right here. So if you're on the highway, you'll get a little visualizer of yourself and other cars. Very minimalistic with just your speed. And then we're back at the tachometer. You can use little swipe in from the left and the right on this here to change what shows up in these side pods. So if you want your fuel gauge to show up over there, you can do that. Same goes for this side. Say instead of, you know, the temperatures, you wanted to show the song or average speed, just go ahead and click that, and there you go. Very customizable. The glare isn't that bad in the sun. It's a pretty good digital instrument cluster.